tell me I view obsessively.
And for tonight's secondary review, Brent and I are going to be sharing our thoughts on VHS Beyond, the latest installment of the VHS series that dates back to, I think, 2012 with the first VHS movie. And then the resurgence of the VHS franchise came about when I believe it was Bloody Disgusting and Shudder kind of got together or something. Like Bloody Disgusting has been producing them the last 4 entries. Which have included, I always stumble like with the order of them, but it was VHS.
It's 94, 99, 85, and then beyond.
There you go.
For the Shudder ones, that is.
Yes. And they've been releasing like yearly, like clockwork, and it has filled me with quite a bit of joy. So very much looking forward to chatting with you, Brent, about this movie, which is available on Shudder. It was released on October 4th, 2024. The premise, which is, it's a little dodgy here. 6 blood-curdling tapes unleash horror in a sci-fi-inspired hellscape, pushing the boundaries of fear and suspense. So we've got 5 segments and 1 frame segment. So what I figured we would do is do like an overview of the entire movie itself, kind of in a non-spoiler thing, and then I can play a clip from the trailer, and then we can go into a more spoiler dissection of each segment, and then call it a night. So
sure, yeah.
That works?
Yeah, it works, absolutely.
Nice. So we are going to go ahead and give an overview of VHS Beyond. Once again, it is streaming on Shudder. Brent, you've been on to talk about VHS movies. The last is this the 3rd or 4th year that you've been on?
This is the 3rd. Yeah,
the 3rd. Yes,
yeah. We talked about 99 and 85. Yeah.
Yes. So to kind of recount for the audience, like, how did you feel about those installments, and what were your expectations going into VHS Beyond?
I think I prefer 99 to 85. I thought both were pretty good, but yeah, I would say I prefer 99. I think part of it too, and I think that's what these movies are kind of going for in some cases, is like that was like when I was actually more of a preteen technically, but like that era, like I was around then and that sort of thing. So I kind of recognized some of the zeitgeisty sort of like cultural things that they were tying in with that. Whereas 85, like, yeah, I recognize those things, but it's like not exactly the same. So yeah, I probably prefer 99 a little bit. Yeah, really liked Ozzy's Dungeon.
Yes. Revisiting that when I was rewatching them, yeah, Ozzy's Dungeon was awesome.
That was still like that's still like my favorite of probably those two, and honestly, even adding Beyond into it, it's probably just one of my favorite VHS segments. I just really think it's a wonderful sort of send up of Nickelodeon game shows and just going really in pretty demented directions. So yeah, I still love that one. But yeah, there's plenty of good ones overall. It's a fun series. I'm glad that they since VHS 94, they're kind of doing it yearly. It's a fun, like just like annual Halloween sort of tradition. And obviously if you have Shudder, you're probably into horror movies. So
right.
I like that they've kept that going for 4 years strong. So yeah.
Yeah, same here. It's been a blast, especially since Bloody Disgusting kind of took the reins. It has been consistently like good quality installments the last few years. With anthology movies like this, it is going to be a mixed bag most of the time, like as just by definition, that's what an anthology movie basically is.
Sure. Yeah.
Going to be a mixed bag. But what I really like about it is just obviously the concept. Like it is a showcase of often eclectic voices in film, and being able to have people put their stamp on something without it being too industrialized or too much like a just like a churning something out. Like it feels like each installment is very much in keeping with the filmmaker's vision. So I really like that. And that's something that feels good 7 installments into a franchise like this. I think that's a good feather in its cap. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and as far as a rundown of the last few entries, I really liked. I don't know if I would say that they've been escalating in quality each time, but like VHS 94, that had some issues that I had, was like the digital artifact of the VHS kind of like look was a little bit hard to get past, because it just seemed a little too much like they were trying to do something. It seemed very cheap.
Mhm.
But there was some really cool stuff in there. I remember, I think Storm Drain was a really good one. And then The Empty Wake was
It's
good
Storm
too.
Drain, which takes place in Westerville, Ohio, which is where my parents live. It's a
Oh,
suburb of
nice.
Columbus. Um,
Nice.
I think Chloe Okuno, I believe is her name. She directed Watcher. A couple of years after that, or maybe one
Oh,
year.
yeah.
Anyway, so I don't know if she's from Ohio, but there's all these Ohio allusions in that Storm Drain segment from '94.
Nice.
But like they mentioned multiple times it takes place in Westerville. There's like someone mentions Athens, Ohio, which is Ohio University, which is where I went to school.
Oh, wow.
So there's like, it's just funny. There's like all these, and I have no idea why it takes place there. I can't imagine there's storm drains in Westerville with rat men in them, but who knows?
That's wild. I love that. That's awesome. That's very awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then 99, I think I may have liked that a bit more. Like, even when you have these kind of, I don't know if I would say high concept installments or anything, but like Ozzy's Dungeon we talked about was really cool. The Gawkers was a fun kind of nod to that like late 90s kind of raunchy sex,
like horny
comedy
teenager,
thing.
right? Yeah.
But like its own like spin on it. And I also really liked Suicide Bid in that one. I thought that was a really, really good claustrophobic thriller. And then finally 85 I thought was solid as a throwback to kind of 80s slashers and horror movies like that. But I came out of VHS 85, the rewatch of it, just recommitted in my belief that I wish Dreamkill would have been its own like feature length movie. Because I think that was just far and away the best segment of that installment.
And I think 85 is where they had two that like kind of connected with each other, not a wraparound, but they have the one with the lake, and then it was like the kind of cult thing later. I wish they had just I think I said this in the review that we did. I wish they had taken those two and like put them together and did like a feature, because it's like it's really good. I think both of the segments are good, but it's like, I don't know. I think they could have done some really cool things with like combining those, and then I don't know, but
yeah, I liked the resolution of that. I do agree. Yeah, it definitely, it was Ambrosia and No Wake.
No Wake, right?
Yeah. I like that as kind of like exploring similar things between two sides of a similar story. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah. And then other ones in that one just didn't really do it for me. But I was very excited when they announced that the 2024 installment of VHS was going to be VHS Beyond, which is by its own like definition and everything, it is more in keeping with sci-fi horror. And that's kind of like the overarching theme of the whole thing. It's science fiction horror, which is something I'm definitely a fan of and was definitely interested in seeing. So having gone through that preamble and everything, Brent, what did you think of VHS Beyond overall? And then we can go segment by segment.
Yeah, I liked it. I think it's probably for me an improvement over 85. I think overall, like I enjoyed just the overall quality. I think I liked a little bit more. I think it's probably like a similar level of enjoyment to like 99 or probably even maybe not 94. 94 I really liked a lot. Anyway, so like again, like you said, it's like mixed bag, so it's kind of hard to it would be easier for me to rank the segments that I like as opposed to the overall movies that I like.
Yeah.
But regardless, yeah, I think it's another strong entry. We'll talk about the individual segments. My favorite was the Fur Babies one, which is Justin Long co-directed this one, and there's a lot of overlap with Tusk, the movie he did with Kevin Smith.
I had that thought too. Yeah,
so
very much so.
Oddly enough, it was my favorite because I just thought like the acting was good, the concept was fun too, and just like it just had some neat creature effects and all sorts of stuff. But oddly enough, I thought like that one was actually the least least thematically tied to the rest of them, because the rest of them I think it's not only sci-fi but actually like extraterrestrials, I think, with all the other ones. And Fur Babies, sorry if this is like a spoiler, but that one doesn't involve extraterrestrials. You could say it's sci-fi maybe. I think of it more of just kind of like
body horror,
slash like really dark comedy. But so it was sort of different, but what I suspect probably happened, because Justin Long is, he's a well-known entity. I wonder if he was developing this, because I think he wrote it too, or co-wrote it with someone else. They might have just like had it like already or something, and like they were like, well, we'll just put it in there. Like, I don't know. And again, like I think it really works. Like it works on its own anyway. But I wonder if that's kind of why it didn't match with the extraterrestrial stuff. But
that's interesting. I didn't really think it didn't stick out to me as something that was straying from the overall concept. Like I didn't have that feeling, but kind of retroactively, now that you brought that to my attention, I kind of do. I kind of do see that it is kind of a slightly like. Not a full like square peg in a round hole situation, but it's like just not fully a circle going into the circle peg or whatever. But yeah, I would say that in Dream Girl also technically doesn't really, my memory of it at least doesn't really have much in terms of not extraterrestrial stuff, but I mean,
that's more of a robot, I guess. You're right. I actually didn't know. Well, I didn't know if it was a robot or an alien or a creature. I didn't exactly know, but anyway, we'll talk about that, I guess.
Overall for me, I enjoyed this installment quite a bit. There was nothing that blew me away like Dreamkill did in last year's installment. And there wasn't anything quite as fun to me as Ozzy's Dungeon. But it still is a pretty solid, very solid display of mostly sci-fi horror. And I was very excited about Kate Siegel's segment, which we'll talk about, Stowaway, especially it also being written by Mike Flanagan, who I'm a huge fan of. So we'll talk about those segments and everything, but overall I thought it was a very solid entry. The frame story will like we've said, we'll talk about it, but the frame story didn't grab me as well as it could have, but overall I thought it was pretty solid. Do you want to go segment by segment in a slightly spoiler fashion?
All
right, that. Nice. Cool. Before we do that, what did you rate it on Letterboxd?
I gave this one a 3 out of 5. I think it's the same I gave 99. So I'd say that kind of on par with that, even though I didn't like anything in this quite as much as like Ozzy's Dungeon. I think that I think the overall like this is a pretty consistent batch, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. I rated it 3.5 stars. It's another in a solid grouping of movies that I'll revisit each year that I get a chance to. So those are our non-spoiler thoughts for VHS Beyond on Shudder. I'm going to go ahead and play a clip from the trailer. When we come back, we're going to be spoiling each segment in VHS Beyond.
Everything that we thought we knew is called into question. Maybe we're not alone. Maybe our company does not wish us well.
All right, so I forgot where I ended it. So Brent, we're going to go ahead and go segment by segment and in a spoilery fashion. Let's get started with the framing story, Abduction / Adduction, directed by Cheel and written by a person by the...
Are you sure it wasn't written by an alien? You can't be
It
sure.
probably was. Oh, written and directed by Cheel.
Okay.
So yeah, like I said, I wasn't terribly impressed with it. I liked the overall aesthetic of it. This kind of documentary style extraterrestrial thing. It's a nice like throwback to like those kind of documentaries that I remember watching as a kid, like thinking like, oh, this is all like real stuff. Like it was solid, but by the time we get to the kind of end of it, the end of the frame narrative, I wasn't really that engaged by it. How'd you feel about Abduction / Adduction?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was all right. It reminded me sort of in the Talking Head documentary setups, like maybe like the Hell House movies, if you've seen those. So like kind of like they usually at the beginning of those movies, they'll have those like kind of talking head bits to make it seem like it's a real thing that happened, of course.
Yeah.
And then like kind of like Paranormal Activity, I got a little bit. So it kind of reminded me of like a combination of those sort of two things. I was interested in it in the little breadcrumbs they were dropping, but the ending was not satisfying for me. So I guess that kind of screws things up. But
yeah.
But I think the framework fit in terms of like the setting up for the whole like extraterrestrial, like you said, like kind of not like unsolved mysteries, but like I don't know, beyond belief or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, like something like that where it's like anyway. So I liked it more for just the table setting as opposed to because I don't think it resolved especially in a way that was like it was kind of just like, huh, okay.
Yeah, my big issue with it, I think that the actual resolution of it had some good like visual effects to it and had some interesting like ideas. But I think that like throughout the movie, there are in between each segment, there's interludes of this segment, and it's like getting more and more background and building up toward that finale. And I feel like those interludes just weren't. Those interludes are the things that I wasn't into. Like I just it felt like that was kind of a chore just to get to the next segment. And I don't know. It felt like if we didn't have those interludes, or yeah, I would go so far as to say if we didn't have those interludes, and then the epilogue, the end segment, I think it would have worked a little better for me if we didn't have like an overarching story to kind of follow in between segments. So
I can say that it's not the worst frame story because I have seen VHS Viral now.
Oh God, yes.
And
I'm scared to revisit that one. Yeah.
You know, I actually didn't think it was that bad overall. Like the segments. I thought the Parallel Universe one was probably my favorite of those, where the guy kind of steps through and he has like 15 minutes and switches with a guy, and the world he steps into is very different. Anyway, I thought the segments weren't actually that bad. They cut one apparently that didn't make it for some reason, and I have to go and find that one because it's kind of seems weird. I don't know exactly why they did, but regardless, the frame narrative is very bad and very hard to follow. Like I did not know what was happening in most of the segments. It introduces all these characters that I understand. It's like like the frame narratives I think work when you just add a little more, and it seemed like every single segment was like a totally different thing. Yeah, it just was not good. And by the ending I was like, okay, well I have no idea what any of that meant. Right. So that's definitely the worst one they've done. So I think everyone they've done since then is definitely not as bad as that one.
Oh, absolutely. And the parallel universe one segment in that one, just to mention that, was directed by Nacho Vigalondo.
Mhm.
And I remember that was like the one like thing that I latched onto, was like that was a really good one.
He did the Puka
Um,
episodes, if I recall, for Into the Dark, I believe.
Oh,
They did two of
nice.
those, and then
Nice.
what was that one with Anne Hathaway? He did. It's the first movie Neon distributed, actually. Colossal, I believe it's called.
Oh, okay.
That was a really interesting. It didn't work for me anyway, but interesting romantic drama / kaiju movie.
Okay. I did not see that one.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it didn't really quite work for me, but I'm pretty sure he directed that one too. So anyway,
Nice.
yeah, he's down the guy. So yeah, that's my favorite in viral. But yeah, I mean, I get why it's people. I get why they had to like reboot it after that and everything. And it's good they did, because again, I mean, I think it really works on this format and Shudder and annual releases like we talked about. So.
Oh, absolutely. And so aside from the frame narrative, the first segment is Stork, directed by Jordan Downey and written by Jordan Downey and Kevin Stewart. This was pretty wild. It was something. It follows like this SWAT unit that's they're a police unit dubbed Warden. They kind of take the kind of aesthetic of like kind of a vigilante group, but with badges. After a string of like infants are taken, and like the reveal of the Stork was where I was like up until that point, I was like, okay, this is standard found footage, like first person shooter porn, basically, for video game fans. And like, I was like, that's fine. It's cool. It's fun. But then when we get the visual of the Stork and it clicks together, and I was just like, that's pretty wild. That's pretty wild. And it really kind of really just jumped out to me as it's such a fun twist on like introducing us to a kind of standard sci-fi horror thing, like a zombie sort of violence porn, basically, and then switch it around to the Stork element was just wild. So what did you think of Stork?
Yeah, I mean, it reminded me of sort of like the beginning, or the frame story for like 94, which is like this SWAT team going in, and it's like, it turns out like, oh, it's this cult that like trapped them and all stuff. So like, I kind of watching it, I was towards the like beginning and middle, I was kind of like, A, I feel like I've kind of seen this before, and B, like, I'm just like, okay, well, what does this have to do with anything? But then, yeah, towards that like end segment, once you get the actual like creatures and stuff, you're like, oh, they're like alien hunters. Like, it reminded me of like, if Men in Black were like militiamen or something, you know, or it's just like this thing. I don't know. It was like this, like you said, like more vigilante justice for these like alien creatures. So yeah, so it took me. I mean, it was like watchable certainly up until that point, but I was just kind of like, okay, like, you know, whatever. But then that's when I think towards that like second half, or even like the ending, especially, it kind of clicked in for me. So yeah, I dug it.
Nice. Yeah. A good strong like opening segment, for sure. And we kind of needed that, or at least I needed that, because Dream Girl, if there's like one dud in the movie for me, I would say it's Dream Girl, directed by Virat Pal and written by Virat Pal and Evan Dickson. I appreciate it for the way that it utilizes the found footage element. Like, they're paparazzi. It's in India. It's kind of following this Bollywood sensation. And then weird stuff happens with that, and it didn't really land with me. How did you feel about Dream Girl?
Yeah, I liked most of the kind of place setting for this. The fact that it's again, as you mentioned, it's like paparazzi in the, what I would just like Bollywood paparazzi. Like, that's probably an insane world. Like, I like that part of it, that it's a different and I mean, we get this with like some of the segments that Timo, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his last name off the top of my head, but from 94, and I think he did one in 85, I think. Anyway, really talented action director, but that it's like kind of an he did the one in VHS 2 as well, the really good one with the creepy cult thing. Anyway,
Oh yeah, okay.
so he did that one, and then he did the machine one in '94, where it's sorry, it's like the person's like on the, it's like this mad scientist, and he has like a human head on like this, but so he did that one too.
The
I think.
creature thing.
Yes, which I'm not remembering any of the names of these, but he did those two. So anyway, all that to say that like I like when they can bring kind of different, just again like parts of the world, like the fact that it's like in different language and this sort of thing and different sort of thing. I really like that they I think she's shooting a music video. I don't know. I couldn't tell if it was a music video or a movie.
I couldn't tell.
But either way, it's so Bollywood.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
And I liked that sort of send up, because I'm like, you could like this, and I feel like it had good production value, because I mean, I was like, this looks like about what that would seem like.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So,
and there's some good violence in it. That's pretty cool, but it didn't grab me as well as I would have liked it to.
With the short films, sometimes you just kind of have to blow past like the they don't have time for exposition and stuff. But I was kind of like, okay, once you get there and it's like, okay, she's, again, I don't know if she's a robot alien thing or something,
right?
Because she was spitting up acid, and maybe she's a robot. I don't know. Anyway, I was like, okay, so like, who's controlling her?
Yeah,
I don't really understand that. Or meaning like, she can just rip everyone to pieces if she wants to. Like, right. What has stopped her before this? I don't. Yeah. And so that's whatever. And then like I feel like some of the effects were cool, but I also felt like I couldn't really tell what was going on, and that's just the way that she cuts a lot of the lights and stuff. So, I was more taken with the first part of it than the second. But so yeah, I thought it was all right.
Yeah, it was fine. It's one that I think when I revisit it, it'll be one where this is a backhanded compliment. I feel like I'll probably, when I rewatch it, I'll probably think like, oh, that was actually pretty cool. I'm glad I didn't remember anything from it when I started rewatching this movie.
And that's a good point too. I mean, just to tangent for a second, like about these movies, like that's what's been fun. Like we have rewatched. Well, let's see. Well, 3 of them, and then we watched Viral. So we rewatched the first 2. We hadn't seen Viral, so we watched that one, and then we watched 94, because I realized I hadn't logged it, but I knew we watched it. Yeah. But I just like hadn't put concrete thoughts down. Not that anything I put on Letterboxd are concrete thoughts, but anyway, I just wanted to like firm all that up. So basically, the first 4 we either rewatched or watched for the first time, and that's something I like about these movies, like VHS. The very first one, I don't think we had seen that in probably about when it came out. So I mean, it's probably over 10 years ago ish. And then even 2 has probably been, around that amount of time, 9 or 10 years since we had seen it. So these are fun ones to sort of rewatch, and in a way, it's kind of, the grab bag element is kind of nice, because you can sort of just be like, you can sort of zip through it if you want to, if you're like, oh, I didn't like this one, or if you're looking for one or something. So I kind of like that sort of bag of candy. You pick around the wood, if we're going with the trick or treat analogy here.
Like you'll get raisins and candy corn here and there, but sometimes you get like really good like Kit Kat bars,
the A+, Reese's or whatever,
more often than not, really. Like none of these movies in the franchise so far, none of them are total 100% duds. Like there's at least one segment in each one. Like VHS Viral, that one, the parallel universe one, is fantastic. So much so that like when I think about that, I forget that it's in VHS Viral. Like I just think it's in another one that's a better installment. But it's the
magic one is kind of weird. Anyway, we don't need to get tired of Viral.
Oh yeah
the cloak.
Jesus. But that's Dream Girl. The next segment is a pretty awesome one in my opinion, and I think it's the one that kind of has gotten some good reactions. It's Live and Let Dive. directed by Justin Martinez and written by Ben Turner and Justin Martinez. It is about a group of friends who are who are about to jump doing skydiving stuff. And then, right before they jump, aliens invade. And man, I thought that was really interesting. That's such a fun concept. It maybe doesn't follow it through quite as well. Like it's a stronger concept in a slightly not as strong execution, but it's probably the most fun of this entire movie. So what did you think of Live and Let Dive?
Yeah, this is another one I really liked the first half a whole lot. Like, in fact, it was, for most of it, I was like, this is probably going to be my favorite, like, overall.
Nice.
I really liked when they were like on the plane, like the idea of like, especially like the POV sort of stuff, I thought really worked well. Like, I was like, I mean, I would never skydive. I never have skydived.
Oh, yeah.
Probably never will.
Me neither.
But I was like, it really had that feeling of like, I don't know, the effects I thought were really good. Like, I'm not always the best judge of that, but like, looking out the plane when they see the ships and stuff, and then when they do dive out and everything, I'm like, this looks good. I mean, and especially coming off of seeing like, like Viral, especially, like there's some really shoddy effects in that one. So again, to see that sort of upgrade, I'm like, well, it really worked. I think just when they're on the ground, I didn't like the Orange Grove stuff quite as well, but that was still pretty good. And again, the effects work was still good there. I knew they weren't going to stay on the plane forever, so it is what it is. But I felt like nervous and really in it when they were, before they were about to dive. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the effects work is great in this and solid throughout. But yeah, once, like, I agree with you. Once they kind of get on the ground, it kind of seems like it loses a little bit of its kind of quality, it's shock value, I guess, in terms of like it is so born out of this kind of big concept of like, oh, what if aliens while skydiving? Like, that's a really cool concept. And then once it gets on the ground, it's like, okay, what if every alien invasion movie we've seen, basically?
Right.
So it loses a little bit of luster there. So yeah, but still solid overall and a lot of fun.
Definitely.
Yeah. And then the next one, as you mentioned, it is directed and written by Christian Long and Justin Long. It's called Fur Babies. This is honestly a close second for my least favorite. I wasn't that impressed with it. I think specifically because of the similarities to Tusk, which Tusk is a movie I didn't like.
I was gonna say, you really hate Tusk, right?
Yeah, it was such a weird, like, if I can go on a quick Tusk tangent, I love the idea of it, and I love that it was born from Kevin Smith's podcast, like something like they just ran with it. They got like an email or something, or they saw like an ad, and then they just riffed about it, and basically Tusk was born from there. That's really cool.
Right.
The movie it felt more like he was excited to make a movie of the riff that he did on the podcast, and then it didn't work for me. Also, I hated the depiction of like, oh, podcasters as shock jocks. Like, fuck off.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, I still hold like just annoyed feelings at that. But anyway,
see, that's how I feel about yoga hosers.
Oh, see, I
you didn't go down that far.
So far away from yoga hosers. Like,
I'm telling you, it's worse than Tusk, and I actually don't mind Tusk, but I'm telling you, yoga hosers is worse.
I 100% believe you. I'm fine with just having that belief and not challenging it by saying it. Yeah. But Fur Babies, that is the struggle I had with Fur Babies, because it's a good concept, but it's also a concept that's been explored poorly, in my opinion, with this same like Justin Long was in Tusk, and it just feels weird that he would, make something that's so close to it. And I don't know, it's weird. It's like he's punching up on something that he made 10 years ago.
It is strange. Like, I would love to. I haven't seen any interviews or whatever, but like, just there's obviously some connection there.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is, and why he would go back to something he'd kind of already done. And I agree, this is like similar. I don't know. I think it's maybe because I like Tusk, but this is like I will totally agree. Like, this is a lot of similar stuff that they're doing in terms of like the body modification and like trapping them and that sort of stuff. But of course, like, the aesthetic here is very different because it's VHS and all that stuff.
Yeah. And like it to be fair, it doesn't go the same places that Tusk does. It's similar in like on paper. So
if this had come before Tusk, I think that's the other thing too. Like, if this had been before that, I don't know, but then I know it wouldn't be that way because of the way that it came about from the podcast. But I liked it. I think I liked the acting too. I thought that the woman who runs the this supposed doggy daycare, the actress's name is Libby Letlow, I believe, and she did. I mean, she's kind of in, like, I guess, the Michael Parks role, sort of, from Tusk, even though that's a very different character because he's like this eccentric millionaire or whatever old guy. Sure. She's this very like, it's creepy to me because I have, having a dog, like I've seen those sort of folks, and it's sort of creepy where it's like you almost sort of recognize it more, for people or whatever. So even dropping up my dog to get groomed today, it's like, I mean, I'm generalizing, but you run into those kind of kindly, women. It's really creepy that you could be kidnapped and turned into a dog slowly by them. So I think I think honestly, her performance is like kind of what made it like stand out for me and work for me so well. I think if it had been, I don't know, if it had been Justin Long in that character or something, or I don't know what, like, I don't think it would have worked nearly as well. I think that was like, that was one of the main reasons. But I would not argue with anyone that was, honestly, now that I think of it, I don't know. I might have liked Live and Let Die a little more than this. I don't know. I think they're both good. I liked Live and Let Die and Fur Babies. So yeah,
that's fair. And I think that there's a lot of fun to be had with Fur Babies and the way that the places that it goes in a kind of demented way. But it just kind of was a little bit of a dud to me. And to round out this review, do we want to talk about Stowaway, directed by Kate Siegel and written by Mike Flanagan? This is a story about a woman who is kind of documenting possible UFO activity in the desert and becomes a passenger on a ship. How did you feel about Stowaway?
This is the part in the episode where there's just a pit in my stomach and I just feel low. I couldn't really get behind this one. So I was really excited, as you were. I know you're a bigger Mike Flanagan fan than I am, and Kate Siegel's directing this. He wrote it and everything, and I'm like, all right, this is so cool. And regardless of how I felt about this one, I'm glad that they're able to do this and attract this kind of talent and star power and everything to do these sort of anthology films. For me, honestly, a lot of it was just, I don't think the effects were necessarily bad. I just thought it was really like murky and really hard to see. And then also I couldn't quite tell what was going on once she was on the ship. That's like, that was one of the things, like they're like healing her, I think. That's these like nanobots or whatever are healing her, but then like I couldn't quite tell like what else was happening. There was like tension, but I couldn't really tell. So maybe that's my fault. And maybe once I figure out what's going on, I'd like it more.
Yeah, I will 100% agree with you there. Honestly, as much as I wanted to love this segment and wanted this to be like a strong finisher, especially with me being a fan of the filmmakers behind it, I will agree. It wasn't I wasn't as blown away as I was hoping and expected to be. And I think most of that is due to the lead up to her going onto the ship or being in the ship or what have you. The lead up to that just felt a little bit too dry. Like it felt
Mhm.
like it was a little bit of a slow build toward that. And once she got on the ship, I agree with you. Like it was a little bit hard to see in terms of visual effects and there like you said, the murkiness of it was pretty evident. Um because I feel like there are elements of it where she's like the healing substance, the nanobites or whatever, are transforming her in a way that's like supposed to be like a body horror thing, but I
Mhm.
feel like it wasn't as clearly depicted, um, which could be fine if like multiple segments in this movie didn't already do like some pretty cool like body horror modification things. Um, but having said that, the actual like jump to light speed that like the stowaway aspect of it, I thought was a pretty big swing in terms of the visual effects, and I think it worked pretty well for me. I thought it was a good like kind of uh cerebral sort of depiction of it. I thought it was cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely wanted to get there. I was the most excited about this one. And yeah, it's just kind of disappointing, but these things
Yeah.
happen.
Yep, yep. I am interested in seeing what Kate Siegel does behind the camera again.
Sure.
And I think that that team of her and Mike Flanagan, I would like to see them do another VHS segment at some point in the future.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I
yeah.
rewatched Hush
Oh, nice.
last month, whenever it became they like re-released it because it was on Netflix for a
Mhm.
while and then just disappeared and you weren't able to find it anywhere, and it had been a while since
Yeah.
we seen it, so we rewatched it. And so when I was thinking about Stowaway, I was thinking about that because of course that was um her in front of the camera, him behind, and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be cool to see them do. I don't know if they'll do another like VHS segment, but something else. He has his hands in all sorts of stuff, so wouldn't surprise me if he
Yeah.
does do I don't know what, Dark Tower or some kind of series or something, if she
Yes.
does more directing that way. So
Mhm. Oh, that would be great. Yeah, I just the Dark Tower. It needs to happen. I'm so excited.
sending you off with good vibes.
Yes,
Manifesting.
exactly, exactly. Really quick, it's kind of funny. I'm looking at the Wikipedia page and the production side. It says that I don't know what the source is from Collider. Kate Siegel initially planned to do a segment that would have been a musical. After this was shot down, she suggested a short involving the Muppets and even wanted to get Brian Henson involved, but this idea was turned down too. She eventually spoke with Mike Flanagan and settled on the final version seen in the film. Um, you know, I think this was a great segment
Yeah,
in
I
that
mean, I think a
context.
musical you're not going to do at a VH. I'm sorry. I mean, those
Yeah.
are
I
ambitious
mean,
ideas.
yeah, that would be like making a Joker movie a musical.
They're never going
So
to do that. I mean, come on.
no, no. But yeah, but I overall I thought this was a pretty solid entry in the franchise. And again, I'm just so happy that that we have that this is the current yearly tradition for horror fans. Um and I will watch every installment that they put out, and I will force you to be on the podcast with me to talk
That's
about them.
fine by me. Just don't turn me
Yeah.
into a dog.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Don't pigeonhole me, please.
Make it a cute one. Yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, I think that should just about do it for this episode of the Obsessive Viewer. Brent, before we go, obviously we're going to forego potpourri, but do you want to tell people where they can find you once again and what you have coming down the pike or pipe or whatever?
awakeinthedark.com is the best place to find me. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, Instagram, all of it. I have reviews for Woman of the Hour, which is going to be on Netflix this Friday. That's already out. I have a couple pieces on Midwest Film Journal, one that came out last week, and then one that by the time you're listening will probably already be out. So those are my entries for Guillermo del Toro retrospective and No Sleep October. So
nice.
Yeah, and then probably be doing Spinal 2 next week, I would imagine.
Nice. Awesome. I almost said well done. Like, good job.
I did it.
Yeah.
I brought the smile back.
Yes. Well, it's always a smile to have you on here.
Mhm.
And yeah, so that'll do it for this episode of the Obsessive Viewer Podcast. Thanks.
Crossing the felt ropes, watching from home on my TV, looking at all my eyes can see. They tell me I view obsessively.